Right. Well, we're back together again, and so I'm Cassidy Creech. I teach here at the Huntsman School of Business, and I'm here with Eric and Jeremy. They're from Adobe and Laird Plastics, and they're here to help everybody learn a little bit more about how to thrive in their first role. As students get into that first job, a lot of times they don't really know exactly how they're going to use that as a slingshot for their career. And so these awesome guys, Aggies themselves, have happily volunteered to take on this mentorship role. And I'm so excited to have you guys here. Thank you so much for joining us. For just to get things started, what do you think people need to understand about their first role before they accept the position? Let's hit Eric with this first.
Okay, and thanks, Dr. Creech. I love being back at Utah State. Go Aggies. Just a little background. This is my only job out of college, my first job, I should say. Yeah, so I have been at Adobe for about 3 years, and I can speak from the multiple offers that I had just to decide between when I first came out of college. And I'd say what you should understand about your role is what is the growth opportunity. There may be some roles that look like they wouldn't be ideal right now, but what's going to come after it, and talk with your interview team about what the growth trajectory looks like in that role. Where would you be in 1 to 2 years if you were an ideal performer? And it's a very valid question, especially coming out of college as your first main career role. I think everyone would be happy to answer that, because growth is going to be really important in your first few years. I would say that. I would also say you should understand what kind of working environment you're going to be going into. If your management team is going to be local, this is specifically coming from myself as I started pre-pandemic, so I am not dealing with a lot of what recent hires have dealt with. But even then, I came into a role where my very first one, my management team was all at headquarters, not in Lehi, Utah, where I currently work. It's a really hard ramp up, and it's just something to consider. So try to understand if you're going to be where all the action happens. Are you going to be off in some corner of the company that's a little harder? Luckily, I was able to move into an area where I was closer to management after that very first role, but just a good thing to be aware of.
Now, a follow-up to that, Eric, I talk with students pretty often about, landing a job and all of that, as you can imagine. And one of the concerns that they often have with that, accepting that first role, is they feel like they can't ask some of those questions because they feel like that signals to the employer that they're already looking beyond what they're getting hired for in the first place. As somebody that's, seen a lot of people get hired on, do you feel like that's okay to them to be asking these questions to understand their role?
Well, I would say if that's the case, I wouldn't want to work there. You want to work at a place where everyone wants you to grow. They want to hire you. You want to work at a place where they're hiring you so that you'll grow to be bigger at this company. And so if they get concerned about you asking about growth, then run. I think it's a very valid question.
Very cool. Well, let's give you a break. Jeremy, same question. What do you think when it comes to that first role? What does somebody need to know? And I guess maybe how has your first role helped you get where you are?
Yeah. So when I said looking into your first role, I definitely asked questions, as Eric said, about future career opportunities. When I started with Laird, I really picked the opportunity, even though there possibly were higher paying opportunities out there, but I saw a lot of growth opportunities to progress into management, to leadership quickly. And so what I'd recommend is to ask, as Eric said, ask about those opportunities, then also ask, what are your internal expectations for me? Like, what's the onboarding, the ramp up process? Like, at what point, at what stage, how many months do you expect me to be bringing in value? Because that can then set goals for yourself. When my first manager told me, is I don't expect you to fully be bringing value until a year with the company. There's a lot to learn. My goal is to beat a year. So at about 6 months, I already surpassed where they thought that I should be within a year. And I think if you can go in with those questions, the expectations, and set those as goals for what you want to exceed, that's going to make you stand out in any role. But I agree with what Eric said, is ask about those questions. If they're not wanting to help you with your progression in that company, that's not the right company you want to be with. Like, everyone that I interview with for working with me, I talk with them about, are you interested in management? Because I want to help you to get there. If you just want to stay and work in inside sales for your career, like, that's awesome. Like, I'd love to have a hard worker like that. But if you want to progress, I want to know and want to help you to be there, because that just brings extra energy. And I see the drive in those types of people.
I like your point on establishing those expectations. Where do you expect me to be in my development as I get started, so I know whether or not I'm on track. But continuing on that thought, Jeremy, I think that's a great segue. The other steps that somebody should be taking when they take that first role. So beyond just establishing expectations, what other steps do you think somebody should take as they take that new role to set themselves up to thrive? What have you seen in your team?
So there's the common saying of continuously sharpening your saw, that we call in our organization, like, one of our core values is continuous self-improvement. And so no matter what your job responsibility is, what your role is, you should always be looking at further developing yourself. So if you're in sales, listen to podcasts, read books, watch YouTube videos, just anything you can do to just constantly learn and sharpen your sword to be a better salesperson. But then in your field, if you're working in technology, if you're working in the medical field, if you're selling plastics in my industry, understand the processes for what your customers are going through, understand their businesses. Any extra time that you put in to better understand yourself and your customers is just going to help you to be more successful. I know when I first started, like, plastics I didn't know anything about plastics. It was a brand new industry to me, and I just dove into it. I was like drinking from a fire hose. I had this huge textbook of scientific information about plastics, and it felt like I was going back to chemistry in college. But understanding the processes of the materials that I was selling, and like, helped me connect with my customers. And probably my best employee right now is Wade Doherty. He's a graduate from Utah State. One of the things he did when he first started was he chatted with some customers and asked to go out and shadow them to understand their businesses. Is like, I'll help you run your equipment. It's like, I just want to learn what you guys do, and really helped him to bond with those customers. And now he's an expert in the materials that he's selling.
That's really cool. Eric, on the flip side, as you've seen people getting onboarded, they're there with Adobe for the very first time. What are some of those first steps that they struggle with? Where do you see those people struggling as they're trying to get their feet under them?
A couple things. One that comes to mind really, like, recently, we have a lot of people starting remote. There's most tech companies, like, you're not going to come into the office right away, or if you do, you're not going to see a lot of people right now. And people get stuck in their little working team, and you don't get to know anyone. And I think, like, common mistake, something you should do at the very beginning is set up coffee chats with everyone. You're never going to have that excuse as the new guy or girl again. So go and, like, get to know people, ask those people who you should be introduced to, ask for introductions, and just build your network, even if you're not in a bustling office where you see everyone all the time. Because you will be limited by the people that you know, both in this opportunity and how effective you are in your job, but also if you ever want to move in the company, you need to know people. So I think that's one thing. And I think the other mistake we commonly make is we focus so much on trying to impress that we forget to praise others. And the biggest mistake you can make as a new employee is just hoarding all this credit and 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 you know, boasting yourself up. I think the biggest thing you can do is show everyone you're a team player, that you are fun to work with, that people love to work with you. Show people that, and don't focus on building your resume in the first year. They will build it for you. People will speak on your behalf if you're a fun person to work with. So I'd say just don't get caught up in the resume building right away.
That's interesting. Jeremy, what do you think about that praising thing as well? You're in sales. You know, you've got salespeople working with you, and sales kind of brings that lion mentality of, you know, I'm going to go get mine. You eat what you kill. And so, how do you help your salespeople avoid those mistakes as they're getting started too?
We have a unique culture, which I've seen in a few other companies as well. But we have a profit share model instead of a commission base. What I've seen historically is a lot of people that are working off of commission. It's all about themselves. Like your monthly pay or quarterly pay is based on how well you perform yourself. And what we've set up our model based on is everyone's paid based off the entire pot of the profit at the end of the year. And so it brings that culture of we want to help each other to be successful. If whether someone's on vacation, they're taking care of another customer, they're out sick with their family, whatever's going on, we want to help take care of all of our customers. I call them, we want to help everyone else. We want them to be successful because that's just going to make the entire office to be more successful, which I think even falls to if you're purely based off the commission of your own accounts. I learned this from doing door-to-door sales. If I wasn't selling myself where I'm making commission, it's not helping me out. But as I got into management, as there's better energy throughout the entire team, it just made everyone more successful. If you're just focusing on yourself, you're not going to be having as much fun. You're not going to be as happy. So I think if you're praising, you're driving up the energy level amongst your team and you're helping each other out, it's just going to make the entire office happy, and you're going to have a lot more fun and probably profit more in the long run.
I love it. Let's shift gears a little bit to networking. And this is to both of you guys. Whether it's just, I see networking as being really important both before and after you land a job. How is it important in both of those settings? What do you think? Who wants to take a crack at it first?
Okay. So I think networking really is what I've seen throughout the media as a constant debate nowadays. Like, should you go to college? And I think the biggest benefit from going to college is the network that you get. I know of friends that have gotten jobs just because of other friends that have connected them with their companies. I'm in the company that I'm at now because of networking, like being inside of pro sales, moving throughout different clubs in the university. I've created an amazing network of mentors that have helped me out just from going out and just socializing and talking with people. So even now, like I'm involved in the plastics world, but I'm also involved in other industries, and I consult with a lot of different companies just from branching out and just trying to add value to those other people. But even internally, I think a lot of progression that I've had has come from networking. I think there's two sides within almost every company. You want to network with internally, and then also with both your customers and with vendors. But I think one of the first things that I did when I started was just trying to build relationships with each of my colleagues. And I remember like sending each of my colleagues in my office an email like, hey, like I want to take you out to lunch. And I'm probably the poorest guy in the office because those brand new kids straight out of college, but I'm taking all of them out to lunch just to get to know them, their history. But then I had this great friendship with each one of them to learn from them. Like they're all experts in the industry. And same with vendors, offering to take vendors out to learn about their products, taking customers out, going on social media just to praise people for what they do, get them talking about what they do, which is all ends up bringing sales back to me. But I think that the bigger your network is, the more it's going to come back to you as you give value to others.
What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, what a gesture, Jeremy. I wish that all the new hires took everyone out to lunch. I I think that networking it unlocks some things in your day-to-day. Obviously, it allows you future mobility. Like, we know that if you have a better network, you can find new opportunities constantly, but even in your current role, networking unlocks your ability to challenge assumptions. If you're new at in a team that's been doing things for a long time, but you know people in other teams, you know other organizations, and have seen how they work or understand how they work, you have a knowledge now of how to challenge your own team's assumptions. It gives you some validity. So just knowing people and having relationships is super valuable. It also it allows you to be teachable. I think when you come in and you're asking people for their time to hear from them, often we get in a really defensive mode in a new position and feel like I need to know everything. College prepared me perfectly, and I need to be here and perform my best and show off everything that I've learned and just do my best. But when you're networking, you put yourself in this teachable position. I'm hearing new things, I'm learning still, and it just changes your mindset. And it's so valuable for you to have that teachable mindset as a new employee.
Yeah, I love how, certainly networking helps you to get established, get to know people, form these relationships, be humble, teachable, and it's a great signal to the organization of what you want to, who you want to be there, right? Now, what about standing out? As you think about all the people that you have had onboarded recently, some of them stand out more than others for one reason or another. What are some of the ways for somebody that's in their first role to really make an impact, to be noticed? What are some of the keys to that? Jeremy, what do you think?
I think number one, like if you're very successful in what you do, you're going to stand out. So whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, accounting, if you're doing really good at your job, so even as like any regular salesperson, if you're growing your business more than anyone else of your colleagues, you're going to stand out to upper management. So I think number one, just do good at your job. But number two, if you go above and beyond your standard call of duty. So here's the job responsibilities, but look for opportunities to volunteer to do more. And even if it's brainstorming, looking for kind of gaps in the company and just volunteering information, just sharing with your management, with your team. But I think the more you volunteer to be in extracurriculars internally or to do research, anything that you can help with, to go above and beyond, that's making you stand out. Because most people that go to work, it's their day job. They're going to go in, they're 8 to 5 standard times, and there's leave right on time. They're just going to do the bare minimum of what's expected of them. So if you volunteer to do more and bring extra value above what's expected of you, it's going to make you stand out.
Oh, this is a hard question, I feel, for Eric. Like, Adobe is a massive company. I can't imagine how many employees there are. Do new employees, do they feel overlooked? Do they feel anonymous? How can they stand out there?
I think even in a massive company, you're on a small team. Like, everyone has your immediate place where you can stand out. Has the CEO ever seen anything I've done? Probably not. So, like, let's be clear. But you can definitely, I think, I agree totally with what Jeremy said. But keep your work-life balance. Don't forget to like go home at night and enjoy yourself. I think just think about the unique talents and abilities that you have. If you have some experience, in creativity, Photoshop, you would think everyone at Adobe is creative and can use our products. It's not true. So if you can make a pretty presentation, like, offer on your team to pretty it up, give yourself an edge. There's often a lot of people that don't know how to make things look good. If you're a good writer, offer to proofread things for people. If you're good at, we have a guy who just joined our team who mixes beats, And he made the background music for one of our big all hands meetings lately. He got a shout out from our VP because it was super creative and fun. I'm like, you always have a talent of some sort, and don't be afraid to bring that to work and just show them, outside of everything you hired me for, I can do this too, and they'll remember you for that. So definitely, think about those. But then also just want to revisit, don't get too caught up in standing out. I think the best way to stand out is when other people call you out for your great work. So try to, lift others and they'll lift you back.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I recently had a dinner and a chat with Alex Dunn. He was the president of Vivint for a long time, and he had a really interesting thought. He said that you need to strengthen your strengths and mitigate your weaknesses. And so, focus on what you're good at. And I think that's a really, really good point there. But on that point of mitigating weaknesses, there's challenges along the way. So Jeremy, what did you struggle with the most when you got started, and how did you overcome that? Your new sales.
For me, really, I took the job with Laird because of the opportunities for growth that I saw, and just to be able to be a leader in the industry. But I really knew nothing about our products, which I think most people, if you're going into Adobe, you might know the basics of it, but most people going into a company, you're not going to know about what you're selling. And it was very overwhelming to me, to be honest. We've got 17,000 different SKUs of products that we're sell, a variety of different industries, whether you're talking to someone in the medical field, if you're talking with someone in construction or a printer, it's all different products and applications they're using. But for me, I was working for about maybe a month or so, and one of our reps in our office passed away, and it was very unexpectedly passed away. And I remember someone asked the question, this is a terrible thing to ask, but what are we going to do with his accounts? And it's dead silent in the office, and I'm brand new. I don't know about any plastics at all. I struggle every time I answer the call. If I just raise my hands, I'll do it. I'll figure it out. But what I learned was it's okay to ask lots of questions. Ask questions to your customers. Ask questions to your team, and just be a sponge. Try to pick up as much as you can. What I learned is you don't have to know everything, and really benefit your team. By yourself, you're probably never going to know everything, but your team, you can have a combined knowledge of all of your products, all your systems, what you're doing. And so ask questions, but really what your customers want to know is that you're going to take care of them. And so as long as they know that you're going to work hard, it's okay to say, hey, I don't know, I'm going to check into this, I'm going to get back to you. And I think a lot of people kind of try to fake it till they make it. They'll give false information, but it's okay to fake it. But just say, if you don't know truly, just say, hey, not sure on that, but I'm going to take care of you. Give me a couple minutes. I'm going to go dig into this. I'll get back to you with an answer. But that's one of the things I think, as long as you work hard and you're willing to ask questions, you're not going to know everything. And I thought I was going to know everything when I started, but it took a while to learn this. It's okay to get back to people.
That's a pretty vulnerable thing to do. I think a lot of people have a hard time doing that and being willing to admit, I'm not ready to answer this right now. Eric, with the same thought, you're still with Adobe. This is your first job, and you're still there. You're still with the same company. How have you been able to overcome those challenges, especially in the early days, and as you've gotten to different roles along the way?
Yeah, well, I couldn't agree with Jeremy more. Recognize you won't have all the answers, and if you make up answers, it's going to be worse for you than if you asked questions. So just, recognize that, you have a lot of learning. If I can be really real with you, I think a lot of you will come into a new job like I did, and one of your biggest challenges will be that you feel like you don't have enough to do. You will get there and you don't have a pile of coursework like you had in college with due dates and things for you to accomplish. And everyone's going to be gentle on you, helping you ramp up. They'll give you plenty of time to ramp up. But that ramp up period is it's ambiguous. It's we don't want to put projects on them too much because they don't really know what they're doing yet. But at the same time, you need to learn. So I would say, if you want to overcome that challenge of the first months of having empty calendars, first of all, ask lots of questions, like Jeremy said, but also just ask to be engaged in things, ask to shadow on things, ask to, be put on a project as a helper, not to lead it, but whatever it is. If you're in team meetings, just, and then don't be afraid to take time in your day to learn, to read articles, to watch videos, to, study the chemistry handbooks like Jeremy did. Like, you can sit there and spend time at work learning. It'll be so valuable for you if you know what people are talking about. I literally had an acronym list at my desk that was 3 pages long that I had typed out and printed, and it was ridiculous. Like, just how many acronyms you have to get used to, and like learn them so you're not asking them on calls. That's your ramp up time, things like that. You have a lot of ambiguous time. That's going to be one of your first challenges, and make good use of it.
Now we got a comment. So let's hit Eric with this first, at least. That it says, what would you say to a customer who questions your tenure and knowledge as a new hire?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think acknowledge it. Don't pretend like you know everything. That's going to lose confidence with the customer, but just say, I have a great team behind me and we will take care of you, like Jeremy was saying.
Jeremy, what do you think? You're customer interfacing all the time. So when somebody's saying, you're too young in the company, you don't really know anything, like how do you confidently answer this doubt from a customer?
I think when I first started, like the average age in my first office was like late 40s, and I was young 20s. So I was bringing that down. But I would tell people, like, listen, like, yeah, I don't know the answer, but I have a combined expertise of over 100 years of experience in my office in plastics. Plus, we are the premier supplier in plastics. We have the best relationships with each one of our vendors. I might not have all the answers right now, but I can get it, and I can promise you that I'll outwork any other person that you call. And so, but just solidifying on yourself, like, because really in the end, like especially in sales, people buy from people. So if you let them know, like, I'm going to take care of you as a person, I'm going to take care of you. I don't have the answer, but I'm going to get back to you in the timeline that you need it. Then they're going to trust you that you're going to be there for them. Even when I got out here I started off in Philadelphia, which is a very mechanical focused market, and then I get out to Vegas, which is all graphics for the trade shows. I had a little bit of experience with the company, but no experience at all in this market. But again, just using that same philosophy of the team that I have, the vendors and the support, I'll get back to you. We'll take care of you on this information. And since then, like, we've doubled the business since I've gotten here, because what I've done versus what my competitors done is we've really outserviced and we've outworked our competitors. And so people buy from people. Just be the best person.
That's an awesome perspective. I hope that answers that question well enough. Jeremy, let's stay with you. You did pro sales, right? And you did some other club stuff, but you did pro sales, and then you went right into sales. I don't know, this question about the customer doubts and responding to that, and just overcoming, maybe some mental weaknesses there to be good in your role. It makes me think of the skills that you no doubt worked on and tried to acquire while you were in pro sales and in your classes. What about college and what you learned here has carried over into your professional life?
Yeah. So I think a number of classes is all about problem solving, and what I've learned is, like, problem solving is like one of the best skills that you can develop. Like, the best salespeople, you're finding problems that customers have and you're solving those problems while you're doing. The best business owners or entrepreneurs are finding problems and then figuring out a way to solve it. So I think from each of the classes that I've taken, from entrepreneurship to sales, like learning how to analyze the challenges, the workflow, the processes behind why something is happening, to be able to come up with a solution for that. And then I hate to say this, my biggest weakness and my least favorite subject was always English and writing. But how often to be able to communicate with customers in writing. So I'm constantly either on my phone texting customers or emailing, but your communication skills and how you write and you present your ideas is extremely important. And so even though I still hate writing, and if it's something really important, I'll give it to my wife and she'll proofread it for me. But writing and problem solving were probably the two biggest skills that I learned from college.
Really cool, really cool. Eric, what about you? You're in product marketing, so you see a lot of different moving pieces in marketing. I just, for both you and the people that you see thriving in their roles, what are those collegiate skills that you see translating the most valuably to this professional setting?
Okay, let's start with a hard skill, Excel. If you didn't like your Excel course, I don't even know where the courses are now, but I know you have one. Like, make sure you are so solid on all of the principles in Excel, because you're going to be doing pivot tables day one. Don't pretend like it'll be the last time you ever have to do a pivot table. So, like, yes, there's a hard skill. I think soft skills, I really loved I can't say I loved it. I benefited the most from classes that didn't give me templates. And I will just say, like, there are so many professors who will, because they've been doing this class for a long time and they have to provide, some sort of guidance. That's great. But congratulations, like, filling out a template is not the supreme work skill. You're going to be faced with ambiguous projects where you have to figure out, what does my response look like? Maybe you don't even have a word count given to you or a length expectation. So just, like, really appreciate those classes where the professor just gives you an assignment that's not as specific as you would like. You're going to be getting that a lot. And then I think the last thing that I acquired from college is quick turnaround times. It's so rare you will have a 2-month project to work on, as like as a final thing. When your professor gives you a assignment that's due that week, like, welcome to the real world. That's such a great skill to have, to be able to take something and say, I'm going to form my thoughts and I'm going to work on this and get it done in 2 days, because that's the expectation most of the time. So soft skills, hard skills, they're all important, but I think, yeah.
Those are excellent. You're just like shaking my world right now. Just thinking, you're like, holy smokes, these are some awesome new curveballs I can throw in. This is awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, let's see. So this session is all about thriving in that first role, right? I just got to my first position in the company. How can I do my very best? But in the beginning, we talked about kind of having a vision forward, kind of thinking like, I want to be able to grow in my company. I remember Jeremy talking about this, like having that path forward. What do you think? What's your philosophy on when it's appropriate for somebody to be asking, to start looking forward and start talking to their manager or somebody else about that potential next role and some advancement or growth opportunity? When's a good time to do that? Jeremy, what do you think?
I've heard some people say before that just work hard, and as long as you're doing your job right and you're excelling, that those opportunities will come to you, which I agree that happens. But I think it's very important to also express your interest in that early on. I think if multiple people are looking forward to a role, someone's doing really well, but they haven't said anything to their leaders, and then there's 3 or 4 other people that have all expressed interest in progression, that they're going to go out to the people that they know immediately. As I know, when I first started, the first piece of advice I got, if I want to get into management quickly, what should I do? He said, let us know you're interested. As old guy Mark Steele, he said, let us know that you're interested in management. So very early on, I let him know, like, hey, I'm very interested in management. What do I need to do to be able to progress and to move to this point? And so, which I had already talked about during the interview process. So I said, like, as you're looking for your first career, ask about those questions. But then as you get started, like, maybe not in the first week, but as you're starting to get a feel for your company, you're like, hey, like, these are the type of positions or roles that I'm interested in progressing into, what are the steps that you recommend that I take to get into this role, and then start working towards that. But I think if you show interest in it, and then you're going through all the ramp up, going above and beyond, as we talked about earlier. But I think just most importantly, just let them know that you're interested. Because I think a lot of times people, we don't know who's interested, and then we even try asking people to get into management that aren't even interested in those types of roles.
I love it. Eric, you've been with Adobe for 3 years or so. So no doubt you've at least had some changes of position or responsibilities and things in those years. What has that looked like? What does your time look like?
So yeah, I've been here 3 years and I've had 3 different promotions. So I would say, first of all, you need to understand, what does a growth track look like at my company? There's a lot of companies where growth means going into management, and especially in sales. It's very defined in sales at Adobe. Like, I go from BDR, SDR, inside sales, account exec, and then named account manager. Like, there's a tower to climb. In product marketing, there's so many different ways to grow, and so there's the management track. Not everyone's a people manager, and it's an important thing to recognize that growth doesn't always mean managing a team. And so I personally, I don't think that's my strong suit. I'd love to do it someday, but there's other growth tracks. And so I actually moved into a senior role as my first promotion, which is a traditional like salary bump, more responsibility, more productivity required. But then there is an opportunity. So my current role, I'm in Australia Pacific market. So I moved into a specific Australia and Asian Pacific. So I cover a specific region now. I'm getting international experience. I am have a little more autonomy out in this this area of the world, and that's a promotion and a growth track too. So understand what that looks like, and always be asking for opportunities to grow. It doesn't have to be taking your manager's job. There's other ways to get promotions. And as far as a raise, I'm not really sure. It happens with a promotion every time at this company. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we've got just a few minutes left. So I want each of you to take just over, I don't know, about a minute and a half to answer this last question. That is, what is one of the biggest mistakes you think a new employee can make as they come into a new company? So as you're getting into a new company, what's one of the biggest mistakes they can make? And then just your final parting piece of advice to students. Jeremy, how about you take the first crack at it?
Yeah, so I think kind of a mistake that I see just both with interviewing potential hires as well as first employees that come on is like off the bat, I've seen so many people come in, they're just immediately looking for kind of the work-life balance, and they're focusing more on the work-life balance and the fun rather than their job. And that's it, like, it's not saying that it's every person, but I see it very commonly throughout my industry and a number of other companies. And so I'm not saying I'm anti work-life balance at all, but I think it's important to know as a new hire that there are phases of life. Like right now in college, you're going through a certain phase. When you start off in a career, that's a phase you go through. So really know where you want to be in your life, whether it becoming a specialist and moving into certain markets, as Eric talked about, or getting into management, but know where you want to be and what you need to do to get there. Because it's going to take some hard work for the first year, maybe 2 years. And if you put in that hard work, and just understand that's just a phase you're going to go through that hard phase for a period of time, that extra balance or the opportunities are going to follow afterwards. And I've seen a lot of new people that come in, they go to a big company or vendor training, and they take them out to a fancy restaurant. They just get liquored up and they're drinking too much, and they're forgetting about the professional side of their business. But I think it's good to have fun, and you can have a lot of fun while you work hard, but just know it's going to be a first hard phase of your career.
Nice. All right, Eric, bring us home.
Okay. I think I just go back to something I said earlier. It's don't focus on promoting yourself, and don't focus on my mind just went blank. But I guess just think about how I'm going to be a great person to work with as you come into this new role, and make that your goal. Make friends, and everything will work out for you.
That is perfect. Well, on behalf of the Huntsman School here, I just want to thank you guys again for your willingness to help out here. You've been, both of your companies have been just excellent partners with us and with all of our students. Absolutely love seeing what you've done. And again, just thank you so much for your time here. This has been a wonderful, wonderful time. So thank you so much, guys.
Okay. Thanks, Cassidy.
Thanks.